What is up, Facebook Live? Hopefully, you are having an amazing day. Let's see. Today, we're talking about a question that actually came in from one of you. He was asking, what do you do when you've lost your spark? So today, we're going to be answering the question, what do you do when you lost your spark? You started off, you're passionate, you're focused, you're determined, you're totally on track, you're doing it, you're crushing it in life, and then one day you start to feel like you're draining out of your energy. So that's what we're going to cover later today. As we start, welcome everyone as you're tuning in. Love to know 3 things you're grateful for, as well as where you're tuning in from. Where in the world are you? Welcome. I see the numbers going up here. So as everyone joins in, glad that you are here. Let me share this real quick on our page just to let people know we are on. Welcome everyone as you're tuning in. Love to know where you're tuning in from and 3 things you are grateful for. As you're tuning in, we're going to be talking about today what happens when you've lost your spark, meaning you started out strong, you're passionate, you're determined, you're crushing it, and then all of a sudden like you start to lose steam and you don't know what's causing it. It was actually a question sent in from someone. Thank you for that question. But as you're tuning in, I'd love to know 3 things you're grateful for. What happens when you lose your spark and how to get it back? Let me post that out. If you know someone who is starting to lose their spark or doesn't have that same energy or zest or passion or purpose behind them, I'd really appreciate if you click the share button and maybe tag them in this to have them come and join us. But today, to start off with, I'd love to ask you, if and when you got started building a project in a relationship, what was it, in your opinion, that caused the initial magic or spark or passion or excitement to occur? What brought that about? Let's see. Hugh from New Zealand, welcome. He said his spark is growing, just here to support. You've been giving us great content. Well, thank you for being here and supporting. If you know someone who might have lost their spark, please hit share. But what is it, in your opinion, that caused your initial spark to occur? Was it thinking about the end result and how amazing it was going to feel? Was it imagining the process and being so excited about step by step and how you're going to learn, how you're going to grow as an individual along the way? Was it the fact that you were just excited to expand whatever it is you were working on? Like, you enjoyed where you were at, but you knew there was something else possible and you just wanted to see what it was. Now, I'd love to know what really caused that initial excitement and that spark. And the first thing I'd say, if you've lost your spark, revisit what caused it in the first place. Revisit whatever it was that brought it about and initially caused you to feel that excitement. Now, once you've identified whatever caused the initial excitement, whatever brought about that first feeling, write it out, and then go down as a checklist and say, what part of this is still activating, still exciting, still something that moves me, and what parts of this is something that really don't matter anymore. Meaning, if your initial spark was showed up and your initial excitement and passion was what it was going to feel like when you accomplish the end result, and all of a sudden you have the end result. And let's keep it simple. Let's say you really wanted a relationship, and you went out and you got the relationship you really wanted, and you were like, oh man, if I could just get in that relationship with that one man or that one woman, then everything would be amazing. And you went out and you did it, and all of a sudden you're in the relationship with the person, and you kind of scratch your head going, I guess it's okay. Then go back to the beginning and say, what did you expect, or what did you assume would happen once you got there, and what parts of that are still available for you? Let's see. Fabio says, I've been working in hospitality my whole life. I reached a very good level of expertise and financial results. Now everything is getting easier, and I'm getting bored and losing my spark. I used to love to see people in my restaurants. Now everything is getting too simple. Obviously. So Fabio, one thing you're saying here that I can see is there was a big growth curve in the beginning that caused you to feel this excitement and this spark, because you were growing and learning and having to stretch yourself and push yourself to see what else is really possible there. Now that's something to pay attention to and say, wow, in the beginning, for you to be really passionate about something, there has to be growth. There has to be the ability to expand and learn and experience new things and experience what's possible. So you might want to revisit that and say, wow, what could we do right now at this stage, at this moment of what we're doing, to add in that spark? Should we expand? Should we, in business, just automate this business and put another manager in charge and step out and go work on a new venture, a new project that it's exciting for you? That's always an option. You don't have to shut it down. You could just put someone else in charge, take the cash flow each month, just get paid, let someone else run it, and either franchise it and put it in 20 countries around the world. You could automate it and then take your cash flow and go do a second job that you're passionate about and learn about it and expand who you are and what you do. And that gives you tons of that growth and variety. There's lots of ways to handle it, but I would look for, wow, what could we add or what could we do? You could just expand and learn new marketing skills to see if you can double, triple, quadruple what it is you're currently doing here. You could add in a whole new twist to what it is that you offer and deliver. You could take up a new side career like coaching or consulting and teach other people in your industry trying to figure out how to do what you've done, help them grow into it and somehow partner with them and say, listen, I'll teach it to you, but I want a percentage of what it is you're growing and I'll help you grow it. You just need to do the legwork. I'll teach you the strategy and how to do it. So there's lots of ways to bring that spark back. And actually, I have something for you I've been reading that I think would be very helpful for most people. Let me see. I think that book's downstairs. Let me go grab it. Bear with me as we travel around here. I was reading a new book by Jane McGonigal, who figured out how to game these things. Oh, my wife's working. Gotta be quiet. Let me grab this real quick. Go back upstairs here. So as I was saying, there's a new book I was reading that's really phenomenal by Jane McGonigal. And what's interesting about this book is she turned a strategy that she picked up from gaming. So it's called Super Better, and it's a revolutionary approach to getting stronger, happier, and braver and more resilient. So when you've lost your spark, she came up with this simple strategy that comes from video games that she feels could help people get that resilience back and get that excitement back. And let me see, I was just reading it last night. It's right here in the beginning. She talks about there's 7 steps to rebuilding a resilient mindset and have the ability to grow and expand. Chris, I've been at the top of the mountain, but recently everything crumbled again and now have no desire to start over. No more passion, drive, any insight. So that's exactly what Jane's talking about in this book. She said there's 7 pieces that you need to take on, and if you treat it like a game, she said you can take on anything. And most of the people who are using this are people who are dealing with like stage 4 cancer, people who are dealing with Crohn's disease, people who are dealing with, what did she say, depression, people who are dealing with mental illness, people who are dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder, people who are dealing with, some really challenging stuff. Lou Gehrig's disease, terminal diagnosis, stage 5 cancer, chronic pain, migraines, Crohn's disease, broken heart, finding a job after unemployment for years. So these are the things that she wrote this book for. So obviously, if you're struggling to reclimb the mountain in business, if you're struggling to get passionate again, these are some tips that she gives based on 400,000 users using her app to rebuild this. And number 1, she says you want to adopt a challenge mindset, which means you must be willing to engage the obstacles and look at stressful life events as a challenge, not a threat. So in games, we simply call this accepting the challenge. So if you think back to your favorite video game you've ever played growing up, if you played video games, or board game, or chess, or whatever game you like to play, golf, part of playing the game is you accept the challenge to try to win the game. So if we're going to play chess together, you accept the challenge to try to beat me and possibly lose. If we're going to play golf, you accept the challenge to possibly get the ball in the hole, possibly lose a bunch of balls on the course. If you play a video game, you accept the challenge that you're going to go on a quest and try to accomplish certain levels, knowing you might get beat. So the very first thing you got to do, if you want to reclimb that mountain, I think it was Chris, or if you want to really grow and expand, you got to accept the challenge. You got to say, listen, I'm willing to accept the challenge. And Chris, one thing to point out that's important here is you have no desire to accept the challenge. So you might want to comb through your life and look around and say, where in my life am I willing to accept the challenge right now? What areas of life, what categories of life? Depending on your age and stage, you might want to check out a book by Alison Armstrong called The Amazing Development of Men. She talks about the general stages men go through. So if you are coming out of a prince stage, which is generally 30 to 55 years old, and going into a tunnel stage or coming out as a king stage, which is like 60, 70 years old, if you're in those stages, you've already built what you thought you were going to build. And if it crumbled, it crumbled. And now you just want to focus on that one element in life that you feel is most important. Or it feels so overwhelming at the moment, you don't know where to start, and you don't feel like starting over or going back through it. So you want to comb through your life and figure out what is worth accepting the challenge for right now. So once you've identified that, the second piece, she says, seek out whatever makes you stronger and happier. So let me read it to you. When you're facing a tough challenge, you need to constant access to positive emotions. You must look after your physical health. In games, we practice this rule by seeking out power-ups, items that make us stronger, faster, and more powerful. So if you ever played a video game before, let's do Mario Brothers back in the day, as you're running around, you look for the little green mushroom that gives you an extra life. Because if you die in the next round facing the competitor, it gives you another round. So the first piece, you have to adapt the challenge mindset. The two is you have to seek out what makes you stronger and happier. So you have to set up daily routines and rituals. You have to set up the system to make you healthier, happier, and stronger every single day. We talk about that in our book, focusing on the majors of life and setting up your daily routines to get the most out of every single moment of every day. Number three is strive for psychological flexibility. So this one's important. She says, be open to negative experiences such as pain or failure. If they help you learn or get closer to your larger goal, be driven by courage, curiosity, and the desire to improve. Going back to that other comment, the desire to improve or grow is very important in this game. In games, we follow this rule whenever we battle a tough opponent or the bad guys, knowing we may fail many times before we discover a clever way or skillful enough to defeat them. So think about this. If you're playing a video game and you get to, I forgot the name of the guy, Bowser, I think it was in Mario Brothers, where you're getting through the levels, you get through the levels, you get to the final stage of the level. You go up against this dragon-looking turtle thing, and you're fighting him, and he's shooting fire, and you're jumping and jumping and trying to, like, shoot things at him, and you're fighting and fighting and fighting. If you die, do you just quit the game? Do you literally take the game and you're like, screw this, I'm done with the game? No, you go, oh, I hate it when he kills me. You get kicked back to a certain level, and then you start over. Here's what's fun about the game, though. When you strive for psychological flexibility, in the game, because you've played it before, because you've done that level before, you know where to go, where to collect the good stuff, how to jump over the obstacles, where the obstacles are coming from. You can predict what's about to happen and do it 2, 3, 4, 5 times as fast because you know everything that's about to happen because you've been here before. You've done this level before. They always say making your second million is easier than the first because you've done it before. You know all the little tricks and trades and secrets and everything else that it took to get there. So, Chris, one thing you might want to consider is, I know you don't feel like doing it again. Here's what's crazy, though. Where you're at, Bowser kicked your butt. It crumbled apart. So all you know is you've done this before, and you should be able to do it 2, 3, 4, 5 times as fast the second round than the first round. Now, if you don't want to do it yourself, go get someone to mentor and train them how to do it, and just make a deal that as you teach them how to do it, you get part of whatever it is they grow. And go do it 5 times, or teach 5 of them at once. And all of a sudden, instantaneously, boom, you right there, you all of a sudden have your cycle back, and you're making 5 times the amount of money or the same amount of money, and you don't do anything, and you got 5 guys doing it for you. Let's see, Danny says, I'm a golf coach in the UK, currently approaching the winter, yes, period, where the number of clients being reduced, therefore income takes a big hit. As you mentioned in the past, you need to know what season you're in. Given the winter period, what process would you be more beneficial as a golf instructor? Standing in the range, giving lessons is more than spring, summer. Not knowing what to do in the season, diminish my spark. Interesting. So here's what's interesting. If there was a random winter thing that came out of nowhere and you didn't know what to do and it's like, oh my gosh, it's a surprise, we had no clue this was coming, that'd be one thing. When it's a predictable season that comes around every year at the exact same time, roughly, you might want to consider having some type of two options. One, having a second career, something else you love to do in that specific area that could pick up. Two, make it a digital golfing practice, coaching situation where you digitally coach people thanks to Skype and the internet and all the technology. It's easy to do. Three, create products or information that you can teach this digitally, and people can be buying your products and programs and going through them. Four, take an awesome vacation somewhere and teach a golf camp there in a tropical location where it's warm and sunny and beautiful, and invite people to come on your retreat with you and go learn these great golf skills when you're out in the tropical islands or somewhere beautiful, sunny, and warm when no one else wants to be in the cold area either, and make enough money in that one retreat or once a month that covers what you would have normally made in the entire month. Four, have a seasonal living situation where you move wherever the season goes. So wherever the warm golf season is, you strategically move you and your family around the world and live in those places accordingly. Five, find someone that you can become their personal golf coach who has enough money to hire you full time to pay for all private lessons during a big chunk of time in those winter seasons and take you with them to other cool places. Six, there's so many ways, obviously, and there's more ways than that, but that's where I would start. It's looking at it like a challenge. It's seeing what makes you stronger and happier. So coming from the mindset of, wow, this is a way I can get stronger. It's a creative solution I have to figure out. I'm excited about it. Strive for psychological flexibility. Hey, winter's kicking my business's butt right now. Let me come up with 10, 20, 30 different solutions I can get into, and bam, go make it happen. Number four, she talks about take committed action. Make small steps towards your biggest goal every single day. Taking committed action means trying to take a step forward, even if it's difficult for you. It means always keeping your eyes on the larger goal. In games, we have a structure to do this. It's called a quest, and it helps us stay focused on making progress towards the goal that matters to us. So this next step is creating quests and saying, hey, a quest to me is a short-term goal. Instead of saying, listen, I want to make $10 million 100 years from now or $10 million this year, say, listen, what do I need to make today? What do I need to make this week that's going to allow me to be on track for that long-term goal, for that long-term outcome I'm trying to get to? But you break it down in very small increments. Instead of saying, how am I going to solve my entire business situation in the winter? Say, what's one thing I can do right now to get a client? Then what's two things? Then what's three things? Pretty soon you'll have momentum. Same thing. If you're bored with your business right now, what's one thing I can do to make it exciting? If you've been knocked down and you're trying to get up, what's one thing I could do to make progress and get moving in the right direction again, or build something new? Number five, cultivate connectedness. This one is so important. She says, try and find at least two people you feel you can ask for help and who you can speak to honestly about your stress and challenges. In multiplayer games, we practice this at making allies, people who understand the obstacle we're facing and who have our back. So this is something, obviously, I'm a firm believer in. My belief is get a coach in these situations. Get someone that you hire on your team. They know your goals, they know your outcomes, they know the challenge, and they have your back. No matter what happens, they're always there to help you, support you, get you back on your feet, get you moving again. But you want to find at least two allies, she said, people who can stand up for you and really assist you. There's two more here, but Fabio says, how do you know what is your real goal, though? I mean, I know everyone wants to be a millionaire. The truth is not everyone does want to be a millionaire, but how do you know what makes you fulfilled? Great question there. So how do you know what makes you fulfilled? It's a little bit of trial and error in life. You have to go out and try different things. How to become a millionaire is easier than people think. But the truth is most people aren't really driven by money. They're driven by what they think it's going to give them. They think it's going to give them freedom. They think it's going to give them power. They think it's going to give them happiness. They think it's going to give them something they want, sex or love or whatever they think that's in it. And what they really want is those things. So they're not driven by money. They're driven by what they think money might give them or bring into their life. And what you really have to get real with is, what are you really going after? If it's not the money, what do you think the money's going to give you? If it's not the person, what do you think the person's going to help you feel? If it's not, it's usually a feeling people are chasing, believe it or not. When you can get your thumb on the pulse of what that feeling is, the truth is you can set it up in a way where you get that feeling every single day. And when you're in that position, it becomes a magical opportunity where it's like, wow, I can feel this great feeling every single day. And by being able to feel it every single day, wow, now I'm that much more productive, that much more passionate, that much more excited. So hopefully that helps. But trial and error is a great way to do it. What you're looking for is activities or things you participate in where time disappears, you disappear, and nothing else matters. That's what you're looking for, the little triangle there. And all of a sudden you found something that truly is purpose-filled. Thomas says, how do you filter trial and error what is going to make you most fulfilled to live a rich life? Thomas, great question. So with that, you gotta first narrow it down, and I would do something called a needs analysis. We teach this in our performance coach training program when we're training other coaches. We have them take DAD. If you don't know DAD, Google 6 human needs, and they'll come up. There's 6 of them: certainty, variety, significance, connection and love, growth, and contribution. So there's 6 altogether. And write down, what things do you love to do? Whether it's a great conversation, going out with friends, traveling, learning, growing, building a business, hanging out with your kids, making love, whatever you love to do, write down a few options and then write down a rating, 0 to 10, how much of every single need doing that meets for you. And what you're looking for is a trend, meaning what pattern do I meet my needs in when I most love to do these activities? So let's say you love painting, and I say, okay, 0 to 10, how significant do you feel when you're painting? And you're like, oh my God, I feel so special and so unique. 10, perfect. 0 to 10, how much connected and love? Well, I think about the people I'm going to give it to and how they're going to feel. 10. Okay, great. How much variety do you feel? Well, not a lot. It's just painting. Okay, is it? 2. Great. And you see where this goes. You see a pattern. All of a sudden you say, wow, and all the things I love to do, it's a 10 in connection to love, a 10 in growth. Oh my God. Great. Now, looking forward, say, what are the options that I think I could do as a living, or what are the options I think I could do as my business, and how can I create them in a way that causes me to feel a 10 in variety and a 10 in growth, or a 10 in connection to love and a 10 in growth? You set it up that way, bingo, you're fulfilled every single day of the journey. I hope that's a short answer, but I hope that helps you. Christy says, I think your Live It book, starting with the ideal morning, then day, is a key to learning unlock really well. Absolutely. It's what I'm going to get to after I finish these 7 steps by Jane. But you're spot on. Instead of living for the end result, instead of living for someday when you finally get the thing or go to the place, or even, my business crumbled, or I'm bored with my business. If you set up your absolute ideal day, the type of day where you feel so fulfilled, so alive, so passionate every day, that just by the way you're living, how you're showing up, who you're being, how you're treating people, what you're learning, how you're giving, just by that simple format, it makes you feel so alive and so fulfilled, you wouldn't trade it for anything. If you set it up in that format, now, doesn't matter if your business crumbles, because you love the process so much, do it again, you build it again. It doesn't matter if you're totally crushing it and bored, because you would never be bored because you love the process of the life you set up every single day. And that's what brings the fulfillment. Instead of what you're doing or where you're going, it's how you're living every day. In the most important areas of your life that cause the fulfillment to occur. So Christy, thanks for the plug there. Doug says, wow, identify the feeling, then feel it every day. Love that. Thanks. Glad to share. Dougie Fresh. Danny says, great advice, buddy. Thank you. P.S. Do you or your dad require a winter period golf course? Dad might, to be honest. He has, the other thing I forgot to mention, he has these really cool golf simulators in every house and place he has. So he plays golf no matter what the season because he plays it inside on his simulator, and he can access every course in the world. So one other thing that might be a localized business in what you're doing, purchase or invest or get investors to buy an indoor golf course, meaning 3 or 4 screens, and rent them out to business people who want to play golf during the winter locally in your city. And if you have a big enough city, rent it out to organizations and say, hey, during your lunch hour, send your executives over. They can play a round of golf for just an hour on their favorite courses, and they can all have lunch here and play golf and hang out, have their meeting, and then get back to work. And all of a sudden, you have the only indoor golf location in wherever you live in the middle of the winter, so that the golf people can come golf even while it's winter and cold outside. So create your own indoor digital golfing location where they can come play. Of course, hopefully that's helpful. Davern, I love playing football, but I don't like my boxing training so much. Can I make somehow that I will love boxing? Sure. If you need to change how you feel about something that you have to do, now the truth is, unless you might be a pro boxer. If you're a pro boxer and you hate boxing, that's a weird situation. But perception and procedure. If you want to Google, what did I tell you? I mean, if you Google Jairek Robbins and then Google Huffington Post Jairek Robbins, And there's an article I wrote a while ago about how to fall in love with the process of hard work. That's what it's called, How to Fall in Love with Hard Work. And it's a very simple process. It's also in our book, Live It, Achieve Success by Living with Purpose. There's a whole chapter dedicated to falling in love with the process, even when you hate something or don't like it. We broke it down into steps and teaching people exactly how to mentally and emotionally get in a position through shifting perception and procedure, and how to fall right back in love with whatever it is that you're doing. Hopefully that's helpful. So to go back to this, so step 1 was adopt a challenge mindset. Step 2 was seek out whatever makes you stronger and happier. Step 3, strive for psychological flexibility. Step 4, take committed action or go on a quest. Step 5, get your allies and come up with cultivate, connectedness. Step 6, find the heroic story. So this is beautiful. Look at your life and find the heroic moments you've had in the past. Focus on the strength you've shown and the meaning to the purpose of your struggles. In the game, heroic stories are everywhere. We often take the secret identity of a heroic character as part of the journey. Their stories inspire us and motivate us to try harder to become better versions of ourselves. So this is really important. If you think about this, you want to look at your life and say, where in the past have I stepped up to the plate and overcome the major obstacles? Where in the past have I rebuilt after being crushed mentally, emotionally, or physically in some way, shape, or form and done it successfully? Where in my life have I kind of reached a pinnacle and then found a way to push beyond it and really expanded beyond what I thought was possible before? You want to reflect on those areas, identify them, and use those as something you hold dear as you press forward and as you push through where it is you're going to. Number 7, she says, learn the skill of benefit finding. Be aware of good outcomes that can come even from stress or challenge. In games, we have the notion that epic wins or extremely positive outcomes that can arise when you least expect them from unlikely or daunting circumstances. So a lot of times if you played a video game, this is when you're coming around the corner and all of a sudden you find a power-up or you find a new tool that helps you get stronger. Again, everything we're talking about comes out of Super Better by Jane McGonigal. Great book. I'm still in the beginning here, but all the chapters are set up to teach you how to maximize every one of those 7 skills. Cameron, nice to see you. Devorn, I love playing football. Oh, we already answered that one. So hopefully this is helpful to everyone who's tuning in. I apologize for some of the broad answers that some of you have asked here. I was just trying to make it correlate to what it is we're talking about overall. The final piece I'd say that Christy brought up was if you look at the concept of setting up your absolute ideal day, if you're not familiar with it, you can go to our website, JarekRobbins.com, and we have a free gift on the website, or liveitbook.com has it as well. And it's a whole little packet we put together on how to design your absolute ideal day as an audio program and a PDF book. On liveitbook.com, it has a daily audio track you listen to every single day as well. But we designed that for people who have hit a pinnacle and don't know where to go from here, who've gotten crushed and need to rebuild. So exactly the challenges you face is what we designed it for. Because my thought process was, if you could design a life in a way where the way you're living your every single day life is so fulfilling that you're not waiting for some end result, you're not waiting for some magical moment, you're not waiting to be set free. You love the process so much that literally the process is what fills you up. The process is what fuels you. The process is what brings you to life at the highest level. If you're not familiar with that, look at yesterday's training we did, talking about how do you fill up. And so literally you design your day so that just by the way you live your day, the way you wake up, where you go, what you do, how you go about it, the mindset you have, the people you're around, the places you go, the things you participate in, literally fuel your spirit and bring you to life. And by designing your day in that way, all of a sudden, you have the greatest day on earth every day. You're totally fulfilled. And it doesn't matter if you're building another company, building your 10th company, you just crushed 10 of them and you're rebuilding all of them. If you're starting a new relationship, if you're making your relationship the one you're in totally amazing, it all makes sense because of the fact that the process you've set up makes you fulfilled. The process you're in brings you to life. I hope that makes sense. I hope today was helpful. Yeah, if you're looking for some gaming tips, you might want to check out Super Better by Jane McGonigal. Awesome read. Definitely loving it there. And if you haven't read our book, Live It, Achieve Success by Living with Purpose, definitely worth checking out. If you're stuck and frustrated and you're at the top of your game trying to get beyond that, I think 1, 2, 3. I'm personally full on coaching clients. We might have 1 or 2 dropping out at the end of this month. I have to talk to them and see if they're going to renew or not. So if you're interested in a coach, I might have a space or 2 open by the end of the month. Also, if you're someone who's passionate about coaching others, meaning you're at the top of your game and you might want to coach other people in your industry, but you don't have the coaching skills, we have a program called Performance Coach University you might want to check out, where we train you on how to become a performance coach yourself. Where you have your background, you have your skills, we teach you the coaching skills and how to use those to really be effective in communication. Anyways, I hope you liked today's training. If you found it valuable, please click that share button and send it out to the world and let other people join in and check this out as well. If you have any questions that pop up, please feel free to send them to us as a message. And this today was answering a question that someone sent in saying, what happens when you lose your spark? So if you have any questions, please send them to us. We will use them and answer them in sessions like this. Let's see, there's a few more questions that came through. Let me read these real quick. Cameron, nice to see you. Eric just got in. Great session. Thank you, sir. John, go for a walk with my dogs or stop and breathe. Great ways to refuel. Vladimir, thank you for immense value. You're so very welcome. Malcolm, hello from Stockholm. Hello, sir. Chris, thank you. I will start by finding small challenges. Perfect. Nice start. Malcolm, process is how you can measure your own standards, right? Not sure what you're talking about. Not sure what that means. I'm guessing what I was talking about with the process of how you live your absolute ideal day, it is real simple. It's breaking down the structure of which you're living your day that allows you to be totally and radically fulfilled. So it would measure your standards. It would more measure your values, if that makes sense. If you want to know what you value most, take out your calendar and just look at, the 7 days of this week. What are you spending the majority of your time doing? It'll give you a reflection of your values. Anyways, I got to go prep for my next coaching session. Hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you tomorrow. Make sure to click share if you find value in this. Bye.